Consider, if you will, the ship of Theseus, a thought experiment that asks how many pieces do you have to replace in an object before it's no longer the same object. There's not meant to be an answer to this rhetorical question, but when it comes to movies, there is an answer, and the answer is not many. Can you imagine if Tyler Durden and the narrator from Fight Club were actually two different people? Or what if Nick Frost and Simon Pegg never shared screen time in Shaun of the Dead? Or what if Ferngully took place on an alien planet where everyone was a giant blue cat person? Okay, that last one, not a great example, but there have been plenty of times that movies went into production and small changes completely altered what they would become. Here are 8 times your favorite movies were dangerously close to becoming entirely different movies. Number 1. Up's opening sequence was about Ellie and Carl punching each other. The opening sequence of Up has gone down in animation history as one of the most touching, gut-wrenching sequences in cinema, and an incredible example of the power of visuals and music, as most of the montage occurs without a single word being spoken. It's simple, it's beautiful, it's tragic, and it was almost about Carl and Ellie punching each other repeatedly for the entire span of their lives. Instead of a purely romantic and simply told story of a life well lived, there was originally an additional element to the relationship of the Fredericksburgs. Punching. That's right, an origin story of 2 kids flirting with violence that would escalate to a lifetime's worth of socking each other in the face when they were least expecting it. Even in their final moments together, when Ellie is on her deathbed in the hospital, she was supposed to lightly punch Carl in the shoulder. So why the change? Well, according to director Pete Docter, we showed it and there was silence and a lot of people were sort of shocked. They thought it was too violent or something. You know what? They were right. They're right. They're right. The scene is already violent enough against my mind and feelings. You didn't need to have people punching each other too. The entire thing is a punch in my entire essence. Pete. We're on a first name basis now. A basis of enemies. Numero dos, The Matrix originally had the machines using humans as processors instead of batteries. Wow, 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 can you believe it? Yes, because I'm telling you. One of the biggest nerd complaints about the basic premise of The Matrix was that the machines are using humans as batteries, and that makes no goddamn sense at all. The laws of conservation of energy would state that humans can never generate more energy than they consume, and of all the animal species, they don't have the most efficient ratio, nor the highest output. So why would the machines make such a goddamn stupid decision? Well, if the original script had been followed, this complaint would never have existed in the first place, because humans were never meant to be batteries, they were meant to be processors, which makes a lot more sense. The reason humanity would have been spared above any other species is due to our higher brain functions, and the reason that humans were uniquely able to toy around within the Matrix is because it was running on code generated by human brains. But then again, when you realize that the human brain is also responsible for dreaming up the 2 Matrix sequels, you realize that the human brain's a faulty piece of machinery that shouldn't be used as a processor for anything. Number 3, Back to the Future Part 2 had Doc and Marty going back to 1967 instead of returning to 1955. One of the coolest sections in Back to the Future Part 2 involved Marty having to travel back to 1955, shadowing his original trip back to the past from the first film, but in such a way that he didn't come to view or change anything that would affect his previous self. Of course, this section almost didn't exist at all, fading away like a Polaroid that adjusts itself for some reason in the movie. It's a thing that happens, I don't know, it's kind of cool. It's like that part in Looper where like people's arms and shit are falling off. That's cool, I like it. In the original script for Back to the Future Part 2, Doc and Marty have to go to 1967 and 1955. The thinking was that the series had already explored that portion of Marty's parents' lives. So why not send Marty to like the 60s and have him invent like, you know, a Jefferson Airplane song this time? Credence? I don't know, whatever your dad listens to. In this version, Marty would have found his parents as part of the hippie movement, and again, Marty's presence would have threatened his own birth. So why was this scrapped in favor of the version that we got? Well, it turns out that going back to 1955 was just more fun story-wise. Plus, it gave us the greatest metatextual commentary ever made on how sequels often just literally repeat the events of the first movie. Also, it didn't help that Crispin Glover, who played George McFly, was not going to appear in the movie, and that a use of a lookalike to replace him for the sequels actually resulted in a landmark lawsuit that prevented studios from stealing the faces of actors. Should have just gone back in time and offered him more money. That was the solution, it turned out. It's just pay him as much as the other actors was all you really had to do. Number 4, Groundhog Day had Bill Murray and Andie MacDowell living in the time loop together for thousands of years. Groundhog Day is, for an early 90s romantic comedy, one of the most existentially horrifying films ever produced. A man is trapped in an inexplicable time loop for no reason, caused by circumstances and powers that he can't even begin to fathom, and not even his own repeated death can save him from this Kafkaesque fate. Of course, eventually the magic of true love saves him from the time loop for some unexplained reason, but originally, Andie MacDowell's love didn't save him from this hellish predicament. In fact, it made it even more terrifying as Andie MacDowell was now trapped in the time loop as well. Worse, the original script actually told the audience how long Phil was trapped in his Twilight Zone situation. Roughly 10,000 years. 10,000 years of repeating the exact same day over and over with no hope or means of ever escaping. That's pretty messed up, and it might actually shed some light on how Bill Murray became Hollywood's equivalent of a wily trickster god. But not really, because movies aren't real, folks. I hope I'm not having to tell you this. I hope you're not learning that from this video, as movies aren't real. Number 5, Beetlejuice was a reptilian winged demon who tried to sexually assault Lydia. Beetlejuice is already pretty dark for a film. It begins with the deaths of the main characters, who are then forced to grapple with a bevy of post-mortality issues. A troubled girl becomes the object of obsession for an undead pariah. It's all kinds of messed up. But the movie was originally far, far darker and included way less of a quirky comedic tone that was the staple of Tim Burton's movies around the time. For one, Beetlejuice was less of a lovably quirky oddball eccentric who just happened to be obsessed with marrying a child, and had far more explicit and graphic intent that I will not be made to repeat here. I don't want to say it because it's bad. And somewhat ironically, though they scaled back Beetlejuice to make him way less of a child sex predator, nice guy dad Jeffrey Jones was later found out to be a pedophile. So really, it's just a no-win, no matter what version of the movie got made. Sorry. Number 6, Gizmo was the evil leader of the Gremlins. Hey, speaking of already oddly dark supernatural comedies from the 80s that were originally far darker, let's talk about one of my favorites. Let's talk about Gremlins. Ever wonder why when Gizmo gets water splashed on him and goes through the painful, gross birthing process of more Mogwai, the new Mogwai are weirdly evil for basically no reason and conspire to turn all of them into fully fledged reptilian gremlins except for Gizmo? If this question has kept you up at night since 1984, well, rest assured, because Gizmo was originally supposed to transform too. Yeah, there was no Stripe. Gizmo was originally the head gremlin, and there was no cute, friendly Mogwai to stand by Billy's side through the film. Also, there were a lot of dark moments in the original script, including Billy's mom being decapitated and Billy's dog Barney being eaten alive by the Gremlin posse. While these elements were removed to keep the film a little more family-friendly, we should all be thankful that director Joe Dante fought hard to keep in Phoebe Cates' terrifying, tragic memory of the worst Christmas ever, which is still, somehow, only the second most horrific thing in the Gremlins franchise. Number 7, Castaway script revealed what was in the unopened box. It was salsa verde. It was salsa verde. One of the most infuriating parts of Castaway, and there are several that are not just the movie in total, is that FedEx employee Tom Hanks refuses to open some of the packages that survived the plane crash with the intention of someday delivering them. Lots of people, including the director, joke that the box probably contained a solar-powered satellite phone, but the original script reveals the truth. And it's much less helpful than that. It's steak sauce. That's it, it's steak sauce. But in a slightly later draft, the answer was just a little more interesting, salsa verde. But it wasn't just that it was a slightly different condiment, there was also a note attached that summed up much of the message of the film, about separation and longing and the connections that we make with others. It goes, and I quote, "You said our life was a prison, dull, boring, empty. I can't begin to tell you how much that hurt. I don't want to lose you. I'm enclosing some salsa, the verde you like. Use it on your sticky rice and think of home. Then come home to me. We'll find the spice in our lives again. Together, I love you, always, Bettina." Sorry, Bettina, but there's gonna be a delay on this package. Maybe you can make a bloody face on a volleyball to keep you company. That seems like a good idea. Number 8, Judge Doom was originally going to be the hunter who killed Bambi's mom. Thought Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit couldn't possibly be any eviler than he already is? Between murdering Eddie Valiant's brother, plotting the destruction of Toontown, and dipping that poor shoe right in front of fucking everyone, including childhood me, you'd think that would have been enough evil for one villain. But the original screenplay of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, then titled Who Shot Roger Rabbit, thought it needed one additional detail: murdering Bambi's mother. It's a throwaway line, but absolutely a key one. In the original script, Eddie Valiant: "You wanna know? Well, since you're so goddamn curious, I'll tell you. One of your toons killed my brother." Roger: "A toon? No!" Eddie Valiant: "Yeah, a toon. It was the guy who killed Bambi's mother." Roger: "Him? Oh, he was vile, heinous, despicable. A smear on the drafting board." So why was it removed? No one involved has really commented on it, but maybe the idea that an insane, wacky as hell psychotic toon would have felt a little, completely insane in the world of Bambi. Or maybe it's because the hunter who killed Bambi's mom is obviously just Gaston. There's your proof. Cartoon court, banging the gavel, is closed. Gaston did it. Death penalty, throw him off a cliff. Oh, figured that one out. Hey folks, Tony here with crazy news. Troopers is back. Yes, the classic college humor series about the minutia of working for a massive galactic overlord has an entirely new season that you can watch now on dropout.tv. It's called Troopers: Rise of the Budget, and as the title suggests, we pulled out all the stops to tell our own version of an epic space opera. It's bigger, it's spacier, and it crosses the entire completely fake and totally legally distinct galaxy that we've created. So check out dropout.tv and watch Troopers: Rise of the Budget right now. It's got a budget. It's got a budget.